I got Rumble during a Humble bundle, and after playing, I felt the devs sort of fumbled. If you don't know what Rumble is, it's basically earthbending in VR centered around 1v1 PvP matches, where you have to do martial arts style gestures to attack and defend with your various rock-based moves. Now, when I installed it, my experience went something like this. I loaded it up and tried to go straight into a match, but saw it required me to complete some assignments first. Okay, no big deal, I should probably learn the basics before getting demolished. Then I proceeded to yeet myself off the cliff. After realizing life is precious, I respawned and walked into the combat training area. I slept over this dude's for a bit, and then turned around to see a bunch of settings I couldn't care less to set up. Then I saw the game mechanics, which were all explained by floating text, probably the worst way to convey anything in VR. Wanting to get into action because I was already getting bored and remembering I had other games in the Humble bundle, I immediately tried the first move it provided and just kept failing over and over again. Then I pretty much legit gave up so I could try out my other games. Months went by where I literally didn't care at all to play, and it was up until I was watching one of my favorite no-nonsense VR YouTubers, Mr. VR Voice. He was doing a live stream for his Fit to VR series where he was playing Rumble as one of the games he was exercising with. Now, I'd explain what he told me that made me reconsider playing, but he's one of the most eloquent VR YouTubers I watch, so I'll just show you instead.
It's great fun, Goat. You should have the patience, buddy. Definitely try it out more. Think of that as part of the fun. You're playing this game not as a game that is going to cater to your every whim and need and give you exactly what you want in a very cheap and unsatisfying way. Think of it as something that you have to earn. And there's a lot of satisfaction and gratification to be had in that, which is uniquely virtual reality. And think about it this way too, Goat. The improvement that you make in this game will translate directly into real life, won't it? Your physical health, your stamina, even your muscle a little bit will improve from getting better at this game, which will translate directly into real life. You can't get that from playing a flat-screen game. That's one of the main messages that I want to share with the Fit for VR concept. Everything that I'm doing now, my reaction time, my movement, all of this can in some way benefit and translate into being better in real life in everything else that we do. The body will be healthier, I'll be more able in every other facet of life that involves my body, but for flat-screen gaming, you can't do that. You can get good at flat-screen gaming, but you have to sacrifice your body in many ways. It is not with our nature. VR is, in many ways, with our nature.
So with my newly rejuvenated interest in the game, I booted it back up shortly thereafter. I went over to the training board and mulled over the 3 moves to learn. First is the pizza stone technique from last time. Second is what I'll just call a pillar like it's called in game to avoid the low-hanging fruit that would be a failed joke. Get it? Low-hanging? Sorry, I won't do that again. And then the third stone they gave me were balls. Just regular balls, I swear.
It's not just a boulder! It's a rock!
Now the devs give you this sort of ghost hand positioning thing to show you where you should play your hands and where they should end up. But in my opinion, it's not very clear for new players. Like for one, when I actually did manage to do it right, it pushes you back, making you have to reposition yourself so you could align it again. It wasn't until later that I realized you didn't actually have to align it and you could just chain them anywhere if you wanted. But without having the alignment, I didn't know where I should be placing it to be able to get used to that motion. Then I kept accidentally snap turning, which I ended up turning off because it got so annoying. What is that target that spins around that turns green from red even supposed to mean? Is it how much time I have left to execute the mode? It didn't really seem like it, and nothing really explains what it's there for. Wanting to really persevere, I just kept practicing and not gonna lie, it got pretty monotonous. It's not the first VR game that I've had to master an odd control scheme, so I kept trying despite the lack of immediate fun, and sort of started to get the hang of it eventually. Wanting to do something other than repeat the same action 1 billion times, I figured it was time to give the robot a try. Howard over here is basically there to simulate a human, so you can practice all your skills. My first fight against him didn't really go as expected. I had been nailing the motions earlier, but as soon as the randomness of another player came into the equation, my nerves set in and all my training flew out the window. I just kept messing up and not being able to walk or do the motions correctly, and if I did try to stop an attack, I kept having to reposition and dodge to gain my bearings so that I could relax enough to remember to do the motion correctly. And I know, that's like the whole point of the game. But I couldn't help but feel discouraged. Like I need to go back and train some more. But I was already so bored of doing the same thing over and over. I even tried to watch a YouTube video on how to perfect the gestures because I really wanted to figure them out. And it's no excuse, but more of a background, I guess. I do have a full-time job, and I have other games I want to play and other videos I want to make, things I need to do in real life. I have limited time. The more it started to feel like it was going to take more time, the less I felt like this game was for me. And I don't want to seem like I'm bashing it. I mean, I wish I could get into this game. The premise seems fun as hell. It's just that I feel like a better tutorial would go a long way at bridging the initial skill gap required to get into it. Now, I'm gonna keep trying to learn to play, so maybe you'll see me one day in multiplayer and you can say, "Hey Spacecoat, you're completely wrong about everything in your video. Get good, noob." But until that day comes, that's in my opinion on Rumble. Peace, y'all.